Relationship advice. My ex-wife scammed me into paying child support for a kid that's not mine and is now trying to say I'm wrong for not paying for our other daughter's tuition. 4 years ago, I found out my ex-wife was cheating on me with her ex-boyfriend for our entire marriage. She told me when our son was 6 months that I wasn't the father and her boyfriend was, and that she wanted to leave me. She just had to get through the pregnancy without me knowing, because she wanted me to sign the birth certificate as I make a good amount of money and her boyfriend's broke. She knew when we got divorced, I would still be required to pay support for the baby, and her boyfriend devised this plan to only tell me once the baby was born. We ended up getting a divorce and it was very messy. The judge still required me as the baby's legal father to be responsible for support. Even though the other guy is the father, we also tested my daughter as she wasn't sure about her. But thankfully she's mine. She was 4 at that time and we were already best friends, so that might have been the last straw for me. Honestly, she's my saving grace. Anyways, I've been paying child support for a kid I know isn't mine for years now. It pisses me off so much. The boyfriend ended up ditching her, so she's a single mom. I know her minimum wage job doesn't pay that much, so I assume the support she gets for them goes towards rent. We don't speak unless it's about our daughter. My daughter is very smart and her teachers have been saying she should go to this fancy private school instead of the public school she attends. She was even invited to a seminar about the school. She's in 3rd grade. She got offered a scholarship, but she still would have to pay $2,000 a month out of pocket. My ex says that I should pay the full amount as she's living paycheck to paycheck. My paychecks, mind you, and it wouldn't vet my account. I told her that she gets a little more than $1,000 a month from me for support because of her son, and that can be my $1,000 towards the tuition and she can come up with the other one herself. She started crying saying I'm a crappy father because I know she can afford that, and that I'm spitting my daughter because of our problems. I told her she scammed me legally into paying $1,000 every month for a kid she knew wasn't mine and she can put that money towards our daughter or to hush up my mom. Sister and girlfriend all think I'm wrong because it's my daughter that will be hurt, but at the end of the day, this woman is getting a chunk of money from me every month that she's scammed. She can use that towards our daughter's tuition. What should I do now for the top advice? What about a compromise? You'll pay for your daughter's complete tuition if your wife signs off on you not having to pay any more child support for her other child ever again. That's the best answer. You can't squeeze blood from a turnip. If she's a single mom who doesn't make much, she's not going to be able to come up with an extra $1,000 a month. It's just not realistic. I'd agree to do it, but if she's willing to make up the difference with the child support she stole from you. Like you pay $1,000, she pays the $1,000 of child support and you only pay after she's already paid, and you've confirmed it with the school other than that offer tough darts. She's the one that stole her daughter's future doing what she did. That's basically what I'm saying. I'd pay $1,000 and she can pay the other $1,000 out of the money she stole for her son. Any other costs I'd cover, no hesitation as well. She says that money she refuses to acknowledge she stole, it goes towards rent. I told her I'd taken our daughter if she loses her housing, and she just started crying like she always does when things don't go her way. Although I'm assuming you've already done this, is there a paternity test that can be presented at the end of the day? Yes, your daughter is the one that would be hurt by all of this. But ensuring that you're not paying for the illegitimate child is crucial here. It's already been established in court that I'm not the father. But since I signed the birth certificate, I was still held responsible for being his legal parent and have to pay child support in my state. And actually most states, if the child was born during the marriage, you're still on the hook for child support. I once read somewhere that within the first 4 years of a child's life, it is possible to get your name removed from the birth certificate. I'm not sure if that is true and possible in all states, but it is worth looking into for anyone in a similar situation as yourself. Now, for the next story, he asked me for a DNA test. I said yes, and he's upset because I still want to go through with it even though he asked just to see my reaction. I've been with my boyfriend for 2 years. We just celebrated our 2-year anniversary last month. Our relationship is great and he's my best friend. We live together, and even though I have a big friend group, I'm his only friend. He doesn't really have anyone to talk to besides me. I found out I was pregnant last month. It was so overwhelming because when I was 20 I got pregnant and had a miscarriage. And then when I was 23, just a few months before we met, actually, I also had a miscarriage. I'm now 26. By the time I found out I was almost 3 months and I'm now in my second trimester. My other 2 miscarriages happened early on in the first trimester. So my doctor is certain the baby is fine. I'm so happy to be creating a life with the love of my life, and I thought he was happy too. Last night, we were just talking and he asked me straight up, "I don't think the baby is mine. Can we do a DNA test?" I was so shocked. I thought he was connecting with the baby the same way I am, plus we're both working from home and the only time we do go out is together, so I was shocked he was asking. I was so offended, but I said yes. My reasoning for agreeing with the test is because I don't want even a hint of doubt over his head if he isn't in love with the baby the same way I am. It feels dirty and like I'm a single mom. He got really happy and said that it's whatever and we don't need a test. I was like, excuse me. He goes on to say that he only asked to see how I reacted. If I was pissed and crying and going off, he would know he isn't the father. And if I was normal and said yes, then he knows he is the father. He said that he never wanted the test. He just wanted to see if he had any reason to be concerned. I told him that I don't care what his reasoning is. He can't put that out there and expect me to just be like, oh okay, cool. He asked for the test. I want it done now. I don't feel comfortable going through the rest of this pregnancy without him knowing 100% that he's the father. I wanted us to be in it together. Even if he asks just to see my reaction. Does he think I'm just going to forget we had that convo? The bell has been rung. I want the test done, so it isn't an issue. He started shouting saying that I'm being weird for still wanting to take the test because the only reason I would want one is because I don't know who the father is. I started shouting at him that he can't just ask such a disrespectful and hurtful question and expect me to not go through with it. What if he were to bring it up again? Just knowing the thought of the DNA test was in his head makes me sick to my stomach. Because if you doubt the baby is yours, how can you support me and be excited through this journey? It feels like I'm in it alone now. He said that now I'm being suspicious. I'm so confused on how this has turned on me being the bad guy because I still want to do the test when he brought it up initially. What happens now? I don't know what to do now for the top advice. Just don't be surprised when he's jealous of how much time you spend with a baby. Seriously though, abuse often escalates or begins during pregnancy and postpartum as well, and that resentment and lack of attention is one of the reasons why he sounds so insecure. Good luck to the rest of your life together. He's a bit insecure in the beginning of our relationship. He wanted me to stop hanging out with my friends as much because he doesn't have any and didn't like being at home alone, but I'm a strong-willed person and can't be bossed around, so I didn't. This is a whole different level of insecurity though. I'm still in a state of shock from last night, and especially because he's not talking to me because I want the test. Still not wanting your significant other to hang out with their friends is a red flag. Take a hard look at this on Thanksgiving. I am currently 38 weeks. My now officially ex told me he doesn't think he was the dad, which is the biggest load of crap I've ever heard, and he knows it, but he didn't ask for a test. Just asked me if I was using protection with the other guys and asking me how many other options I had and if they know, so hell yeah. I got pissed, blew up. I've never been so mad in my entire life to doubt our son. When I'm so far along, this had been the most stressful 38 weeks in my life because of his behavior and him not helping and him cheating through my whole pregnancy. I'm not an idiot, and chlamydia doesn't just appear randomly out of blue. He was blame shifting. He sent an IMSA text at night. He's still unread. A week later, he won't be on the birth certificate, and my son will now have my last name. Paternity isn't a joke. The fact he tried so hard to somehow convince me or himself, I don't know, that my son wasn't his makes my blood boil. I'm now on preeclampsia watch because of that stress and my blood pressure being so high. What's your boyfriend? It isn't funny or cute. Relationships are built on trust. I have never been so offended, hurt and upset. If he trusts and loves you, he wouldn't have asked for a test, joke or no joke. He obviously digged out you, or he wouldn't have needed to see your reaction. Now, he's gaslighting you. He may have thought he was being clever, but he was playing games with your head. He's the one who asked for this, and your reaction is the absolute best he could have hoped for. You absolutely should take the test, and you should definitely never marry this man. Child play stupid games, win stupid prizes, dude. Now for the last story update. My boyfriend, 24, male of 5 years, or should I say ex, dumped me, 22, female. Over my responsibility for 3 younger siblings, need advice. Original post. I come from a family of 4 siblings, including me. Growing up, my father was loving towards us and we were adored by our mother. When I was roughly 8 years old, our mother found out she had cancer in the abdominal area while she was 7 months pregnant with my youngest brother. She was in and out of hospital for 2.5 years before she went into remission. When I was 11 years old, she unexpectedly passed away when the cancer came back more aggressive than the first time when she passed away. My sister was 7 years old, my brother was 6 years old and my youngest brother was 3 years old. At the time, our father didn't know how to deal with the loss and turned to alcohol. Perhaps, looking back now to ease the pain, between 2011 to 2017, his behavior became worse to the point that the 4 of us were being physically and emotionally mistreated on a regular basis. In 2015, I meet my boyfriend through a mutual friend. We instantly were attracted to each other. It wasn't until 2017 when he saw for himself the extent of my troubled home life with my father. One night, I come home from my friend's house to find out my father badly beat up my brother over a small comment he made. This moment really was an eye-opener for me, as I realized this mistreatment we were in was never going to end until something drastic had to happen. My boyfriend's mother accompanied me to an appointment at my local doctor, who I confided about our mistreatment. The reason why I told the doctor was because at the time I was terrified of my father's reaction, and I knew a doctor couldn't reveal who made the report. So after a couple of months, through investigation, Child Services removed my siblings from my father's care and placed them into foster care together. Last year, I started renting out a house on my own so I could start having more visits with my siblings. This was usually 3 days a week where I could spend time with them. My boyfriend didn't mind them coming over until this year when COVID started. My boyfriend moved in with me back in March when COVID arrived. At the time, my siblings, now 17 female, 15 male and 13 male, were over regularly. This started bothering him as they were loud when they were in the house, and there were a lot of bickering between them which he didn't like. Fast forward to now, the situation of where I am their half guardian and I take care of them. This is really bothering him to the point he doesn't even like to socialize with them and avoids them at all costs. There has been a lot of arguments between us where he said if we buy our own house together, they aren't allowed over every week, and if I see them every 2 weeks, it can't be at her home. This greatly has taken a toll on my mental health nearly on a daily basis. He starts fights even when they aren't over. I tried having them over when it suits him and I cut the visits down to 2 days a week. This solution isn't making him happy in the slightest. I'm originally from another country, so my family on my father and mother's side are over there. So I can't exactly tell my siblings, right, bye, you are alone from now on. It breaks my heart to constantly hear negative things come out of his mouth regarding my siblings. And he is always telling me I shouldn't have to deal/put up with this. You're like a single mother with 3 kids. You can't do better than me. No other guy will deal with this. It reached boiling point for me 2 days ago when my siblings' guardian, who 98% of the time drops/picks them up to and from my house, couldn't collect them this time, and I asked my boyfriend if could he drop them home, which is a 10-minute drive from our place. He lashed out at me for 2 hours straight. He was severely annoyed by this, and in the heat of the moment dumps me because, in his words, he can do better than me. I'm very heartbroken by this, because he is my first boyfriend I ever had. I've been with him for 5 years. I was very hopeful we could both work things out. I would do absolutely anything for my sister and brothers, which is why I hate that I'm even in this situation with my boyfriend. I feel like emotionally, he's trying his best to make me feel guilty or crap because he doesn't know a thing about responsibility other than paying for car insurance. It's a difficult situation for me because I'm not sure if I should blame myself or him for this issue. I really need advice on this situation because I want another person's perspective on this matter. I would greatly appreciate it. Now for the top advice before reading the update. You are better off without him. If he does not get that your siblings are a part of you or isn't willing to enable you in supporting them, he is not the right guy for you. Do not blame yourself. You are doing the right thing. That's what I told him. If he can't accept the fact that my siblings need me when there is no one else to take care of them, then we shouldn't be together. I feel like his words have cut deep, and it's making me believe I'll most likely be single for the rest of my life, or at least for another 10 years. There are real men out there who would understand your situation. That guy was not the one, and he will never be. If you have to choose between him and your family, he is the wrong guy. I'm hoping that it's true because it will suck to be single until they turn 18, finish college and have their own lives. Family means everything to me, so surely he can't expect me to side with him over them, because if he truly knew me as a person, then he wouldn't have even dared to ask me that. Him saying that you can't do better than him and belittling you is emotionally. There are other men that will understand, appreciate and respect your commitment to your siblings. Well, being from reading your story, any man with half a brain will see you as a catch. Having a relationship with your siblings doesn't make you less worthy. Screw that. Tell him goodbye. You will absolutely find someone better. Also, talk with a therapist. It will help you sort out your feelings and recover your confidence faster. I do agree with you on that as a type of emotional mistreatment, which at the beginning I did not pick up on that. I have been thinking about seeing a therapist, not only to deal with the relationship I had in my confidence, but also for the trauma I went through, which I think will do me some good. And now for the update. So after 2 months, I feel like this post needs an update. I took everybody's advice and I broke up with him before I broke up with him. I wanted to see what it would be like without him, so I asked him for a break lasting a month. During that month without seeing and contacting him, it was the best time of my life. I was able to focus on myself, family and college work. This also helped me understand that I had no love left to give him. And it dawned on me that before writing my first post that I had zero feelings for him. After the month was up, I texted him saying I don't want to be with you anymore, and to avoid hurting his feelings, I kindly explained I just liked being single more. His response was that he understood why I needed to end the relationship, and he apologized for the hurtful comments and arguments about my family situation. Roughly a week after that, he showed up to my house in order to talk about our relationship, hoping I would change my mind and take him back again. I kindly said no, I just want to be single, and he turned very manipulative, throwing everything I went through with my dad and siblings back in my face. This was the exact reason why I ended our relationship in the first place. 2 months later. Now, my life is going great. I started a no-strings attachment with a guy, and that is going great. I am having a lot of fun, and it gives me a chance to experiment with another guy. Now, if that gets complicated, then I will definitely post again. Until then. Thanks everyone again for all the good advice I received. It's much appreciated, and that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you like this content, I'll catch you in the next one. Good day, everyone.